a little snack.
Leave me alone, will you, and let me concentrate on my homework?
Aren't you hungry?
Look, would you mind leaving me alone?
All right, if that's the way you feel about it, I'll take the cookies back to the kitchen. Oh. Huh? Looks like a power failure.
And I had just about found the right answer. Why does the electricity always have to go off when I'm in the middle of solving a problem?
The lights will come on again.
I know, but the light bulb in my head might not. Would you stop laughing at me?
Hey, don't you sometimes wonder what people did when it was dark? I mean, before electricity existed?
I don't know and I don't care.
I'm sure you must be just a little curious.
You're right. I am. Let's see what Jeannie can tell us.
You've forgotten something. There's no electricity. That means we can't use the computer.
Oh, yes, we can. This computer has an emergency battery, which allows it to function in case of a power failure.
You're incredible. Do you know all the codes by heart, Alex?
Most of them.
Hello, it's me, Jeannie, and I'm going to tell you all about Thomas Edison. Hey, it's kind of dark in here. Why aren't the lights on?
There's no electricity.
Oh, now I understand why you want to know all about light. It's a long and really fascinating story, and the best place to begin a story is at the beginning. Let's go! Hey, be careful! Don't get too close to the fire. It's dangerous. Excuse me, but would you mind telling me what you're doing? Aye, aye, aye! Oh, my bottom's burning! Hey! Where you going? Wait for me! Aha! Now I get the picture. He wanted to use the torch to light a big fire of his own. Fire was the most important of man's early discoveries. We're in China now, near Peking, in the prehistoric cave of Hukujian, about 500,000 years ago. Man already knew how to use fire to cook meat and other foods that they needed to survive. They also knew how to use fire to keep themselves warm, eh? And early man used fire to provide light. In fact, it was the very first source of light. Now, it's all well and good to keep ourselves warm when it's cold out, but in summer, it's a different story. Oh, I'm so hot. Oh, that's too much. It's much nicer outside, but no fire means no light either. Oh! Hey, what are you doing? Put me down! Help! Oh! Now we're in France, in the Lascaux Cave. A little more modern than the one in China, isn't it? That's because it's not 500,000 years ago, but only 17,000. Look here. This is one of the first lamps made by man. They put some animal fat in the hollowed-out part of a stone, and they used a simple vegetable fiber as a wick. Cool. Can you smell what I smell? Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Oh!
You look so funny.
Got soot all over you.
I think I could use a nice hot bath. Anyway, man managed to make himself a lamp, which didn't keep him warm and which went out in the wind. So what could he do?
All he had to do was to isolate the flame and protect it from the wind.
Yes, something like a Japanese lantern.
A long time ago, stone lanterns were used to light up gardens, like this one. Look, I'll show you how they worked. They would pour oil into a saucer, and they would add a wick to it, giving them a small circular lamp. In this one, the wick is in the middle, held up by a support. They improved the quality of the lighting by placing a piece of glass around the wick for the air to circulate better, like in a fireplace.
Yes, that's right. I saw a lamp like that one at the museum.
What was it like?
Well, it was...
Don't worry, I'll tell you all about it. This is an oil lamp, and people all over the world used it. That is, before gas and later electricity were used. That was about 100 years ago. The first oils came from animals. Reindeer fat and fish. Later on, vegetable oils were used. In the United States in 1859, Colonel Drake dug the very first oil well. By distilling the oil, he got kerosene for lamps. The lamps were brighter and less tiring on the eyes.
Less tiring to the eyes, but more tiring to clean. And if I break one, my master won't like it one bit.
You're right. And besides, it still isn't bright enough to read by or to do any sort of detailed work.
Ha! It sure isn't. And besides that, if we used it every single time we needed it for something, we'd be completely broke. Cost much too much money. That's why we go straight to bed as soon as we finishes our chores.
There were a lot of ways of creating light. Oil lamps, gas lamps, candles. But they were all very expensive and only rich people were able to afford them. Oh, look! It's Thomas Edison! Hi, what are you looking at, Mr. Edison?
Poor little Anne. She has to read in the dark.
What a shame. She would have loved to go on reading, I'll bet.
Life is short enough as it is, and people like Anne who can't afford to use their free time in the evening because there's no light have no choice but to go to sleep. I've got to invent a lamp that everyone can use, regardless of their income.
Right on, Mr. Edison! In July of that year, Edison traveled to Colorado to witness a total eclipse of the sun over the Rocky Mountains. On his way home, accompanied by Professor Barker of the University of Pennsylvania, he decided to pay a visit to William Wallace. William Wallace was a scientist who was trying to make improvements in the electric arc lamp, which had been invented at the beginning of the 19th century. So this is how a great inventor spends his time. Well, anyway, it gives me a chance to tell you a little bit more about the arc lamp. An Englishman, Humphrey Davy, was the first person to manufacture an electric arc lamp. That was back in 1808. This is the kind of battery Davy used. He connected 2,000 of them. Quite a record for that era. By having two platinum needles touching each other, he created an electric current. Then he separated the needles.
You see how it lights? The electricity circulates all along the spark.
This light, whose temperature is over 3,000 degrees, is called the electric arc. You got that? But what a bright light! Too bright, in fact. And since platinum was much too expensive, he had to find something else. He got the brilliant idea of using coal sticks. That's great, Mr. Davy! You finally found a substitute for platinum?
Yes, but I've got to find a more practical way to use it.
That's right. Davy's invention was very enlightening, but it called for an awful lot of batteries, and also carbon sticks burn very fast. As time went on, the arc lamp was improved and used to light the beautiful streets of Paris, as well as the main boulevards of Los Angeles and the streets of Ginza in Japan. I don't believe it. Still fast asleep? I'll take care of that. Wake up, you lazy bones! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Something wrong?
Here you have my own electric arc lamp.
Oh! It's too bright and it's so noisy. And what a horrible smell it has. Ow!
Listen, my dear Wallace. I dream of a lamp which would be inexpensive, not too bright, without such an odor, and one which everyone could afford.
That's what I like to hear.
I am presently experimenting to find the ideal distance between the two coal sticks, as well as trying to lower the consumption of electricity.
I'm not going to use this electric arc process of yours, Wallace.
What process will you use then?
I've decided to work on an incandescent lamp containing a small filament.
Huh?
I see. And you think you can succeed even though every attempt so far at creating an incandescent lamp has ended in failure?
I don't intend to fail.
As soon as he got back to his workshop at Menlo Park, Edison began to work on the incandescent lamp, determined to solve the problem. Everything all right, Mr. Edison?
The most important problem now is finding the right material for the filament.
Do you know what we mean by a filament? Have you ever looked at the inside of a light bulb? You might have noticed that there's a little piece of metal that lights up. There it is! Well, that's what we call the filament.
Look how it turns red when the current goes through it. Increasing the voltage raises the temperature, and the filament becomes incandescent.
Darn it! The filament burned out!
As soon as you increase the temperature so as to produce the white light, the filament burns. And that's what troubles me the most.
Is that what stopped all the scientists who came before you, Mr. Edison?
That's right, but I won't give up, Jeannie. I'm going to succeed, even if it means years of hard work.
The whole town's talking about it.
And no wonder. Edison's trying to produce light without gas or flame. If he succeeds, it will be much more practical and less dangerous than gas.
But the gas companies didn't exactly jump for joy at the news.
Ah, this cussed Edison fellow. Oh, if his invention succeeds, no one will want to use gas anymore. I want you to do everything in our power to destroy Thomas Edison and his project. What are you waiting for? Get to work.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
And who does this upstart think he is?
And so, just a few days later...
What is it? Is something wrong, Edison?
Oh, Mackenzie, my friend, now that all my financial backers refuse to help me any longer, there's no way I can possibly continue my work.
They refuse?
Gas companies are behind it, no doubt about it.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
No, you won't get another dollar
Your
from me.
experiments are useless.
What cowards!
Keep out of this.
Why should I?
Hey, have you heard the news? Mr. J.P. Morgan has decided to finance our research.
Did you say J.P. Morgan, the famous banker?
That's right, none other.
Do you realize, my dear bachelor, that we're talking about one of the wealthiest men in all of America?
What?
Hooray! You can go back to work, Mr. Edison.
Our research on the incandescent lamp can begin again.
For the filament to give off enough light, a temperature of over 1,000 degrees was necessary. But the filament couldn't resist such a high temperature, and they all burned out.
You don't think we're going to be forced to go back to platinum, do you, Mr. Edison?
Poor Mr. Edison. His dream was to create an electric light bulb that everyone would be able to afford. And now, if he's got to use platinum, it's going to be too expensive. But since he wasn't able to find anything else that would work, he decided to go back to using platinum. But that didn't solve all his problems.
As you can see, it works with platinum. The filament doesn't burn. Oh, what went wrong now?
Well, I'm completely lost.
Well, it isn't all that simple, even when we use platinum.
I'm not sure I understand, Mr. Edison.
Did you notice how the needle moved before the filament burned?
Edison realized that even with platinum and fairly low tension, a sudden variation in voltage was enough to burn out the bulb. He devised a system which could cut off the current in case of overloading. He also tried to improve the platinum's resistance, but he wasn't there yet. A year went by and the research continued. Still no filament that can give heat and light without melting or burning?
No, but somewhere such a filament must exist. I'll never give up.
He sure is brave.
Bad news. Oh, the worst possible news one could imagine, Edison. J.P. Morgan won't lend you any more money.
What?
That's right. It seems he's grown tired of waiting.
So many others gave up their research in discouragement, but we went on. It's not easy, but you know very well that we're almost there. We need time, Mackenzie.
And money.
Have you forgotten that I'm on your side, Bachelor? What can I do about it?
But Thomas Edison wasn't a quitter.
Something much more common than platinum. But what?
Huh? Yuck! That wasn't too smart, Mr. Edison. Your face is covered with soot and tar now.
That's it. I wonder why I didn't think of it before. I'll soak a cotton thread in tar and use it as a filament.
But Mr. Edison, it's bound to burn since the oxygen in the air causes matter to burn.
That's correct. But what would happen if we created a vacuum in the inside of the bulb?
You want to pump all the air out of the bulb?
Yes, exactly. If we succeeded in producing light in a vacuum, the filament might not burn out since there would be no oxygen in the bulb.
Yes, I see.
You see, Edison thought that once the air was pumped out and the bulb well sealed, he could simply send the current into the lamp. And without oxygen, the filament shouldn't burn out. Pretty good thinking, eh?
Now, in order to make the filament rigid, I'm going to fire it in the oven.
But Thomas Edison wasn't there yet. He still had a ways to go. From that moment on, he had to find a way for the carbonized cotton thread to be held upright in the bulb, and that wasn't easy either. He finally managed to create a vacuum by using a special pump.
Well, we're all ready. All we need now is to be patient and to pray that everything goes as planned.
October 21st, 1869 was a historic day. Let's watch.
We've done it, Mr. Edison. This is wonderful.
Incredible! I'm worn out. Mr. Edison, congratulations!
If only our bulb lasts for at least 10 hours.
Oh, look, it's still lit. Wake up! Hurry, Mr. Edison!
Why?
We've done it.
It's been burning for 45 hours! 45 hours!
Thank you, my friends.
You've done it, Edison. Bravo!
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Over 3,000 guests were invited to spend New Year's Eve at Menlo Park. 400 bulbs were lit up simultaneously above the snow which gleamed in the light. After more than a year of hard work and 50,000 well-spent dollars, Edison finally realized his dream. Two months later, Edison succeeded in keeping a bulb burning for 170 hours. Hey, my fan!
Let me burn just a little of it, Jeannie.
A bulb with a carbonized bamboo filament lasted for 200 consecutive hours.
The best bamboo comes from Kyoto. That's in Japan.
The Japanese bamboo filament lasted 600 hours. Incredible, isn't it? Edison kept working and built an even more powerful electric generator. This is Marianne, a generator designed by Edison which operated thanks to a small steam machine. And then came electrical wiring, fuses, sockets, plugs, light switches, and meters, which were necessary for making the bulb usable. On September 18th, 1882, the electric lighting company founded by Edison in New York began to supply electricity at exactly 3 o'clock. Yes, this wonderland of light is all you're doing. Thanks, Mr. Edison. But I hear you're selling the bulb at 40 cents each, and it costs you much more to manufacture them. I don't get it.
If everyone is to benefit from electric lighting, the price has to be kept down. I've got to find ways to lower production costs.
Only 4 years later, the manufacturing price of a light bulb was down to 22 cents. And nightfall no longer stopped little Anne from reading. Thanks to Edison's genius, nights became bright throughout the world. Well, there you are. Whee! And all public buildings, universities, libraries, businesses benefited from the development of electricity. Isn't it incredible how in just 1 century, electricity's become indispensable?
It sure is hard to do anything without electricity.
Don't worry, the lights will come on again. See you later! Whee!
So long, Jeannie.
Now that's more like it.
Oh, that's great. Everything looks so much better in the light.
Yes, I get a little scared in the dark.
I know.
Hey, where are you going? Wait for me, where are you going?
To the bookstore.
The bookstore?
Yes, it's still open, and since we've got light now, I feel like reading. Come on, let's go and pick up some books.
Really? Since when have you become such a bookworm? Oh no! I forgot to turn off the lights when we left the house.
Hey, energy is valuable. You shouldn't waste it, Kim.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I know, but you shouldn't waste a valuable resource.
You are right. And besides, it's a waste of money too. What can we do? I guess I better go back upstairs.
There's no need to. Watch!
Who are you calling at this time of night?
I'm going to turn the lights off by remote control.
Fantastic.
The code for my room is...
That's fabulous! It worked! Wow!
Come on, let's go.